Good day, everyone. I am Michael, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone for today's webinar, which is Forms W-2, W-4, and 941 for 2024 and overview. I would now like to introduce our presenter for today, Vicky M. Lambert. Vicky M. Lambert, CPP, is President and Academic Director of the Payroll Advisory, a firm specializing in payroll education and training. With nearly 40 years of hands-on experience in all facets of payroll functions and over 3 decades as a trainer and author, Ms. Lambert has become the most sought-after and respected voice in the practice and management of payroll issues. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Vicky.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to everybody, or good afternoon, as the case may be when you're listening to this. We're going to be looking today at the three major forms that payroll takes care of. So we're going to do a high overview of each form and then a quick run through of each form so you know what is expected for using that form for 2024. So we're going to be focusing on the W-2 form, okay, for this year. I know we just sent our ones for 2023 in, but 2024 is already here. We got to get going. The Form W-4 for this year, and of course, what we think will be the 941 for this year because it's still in draft. So we're going to cover about 12 sections in this. I've divided them up into sections so that we can kind of keep them organized. So let's get started now on the basics of the W-2. All right, so the W-2 for 2023 is done, over with. It's out of here. Excuse me. So we're starting on the W-2 for 2024. So any changes to the form? No, none whatsoever. There's no physical changes to the form. It's the same as it always has been. Normally, we have a record change every year because remember, even though we're in payroll and we're the people that actually do the payroll, a lot of the stuff that Social Security Administration does and the IRS does is for those who assist you in doing the payroll. All right, so let's look at the form now, and we'll run through the boxes to make sure that we understand exactly what has to go in each box. Now, for most of us, I'm going to say all of us, okay, because we're just going to assume you're doing your payroll electronically. The big thing is not the system producing the W-2, because whatever you put into the system, it's going to produce a W-2. So if you just put garbage in there, it would still produce a W-2. I mean, you could just make stuff up and put it in there, and it's going to produce a W-2. Let's go on to the unique boxes that we have. We've done the wage boxes and the tax boxes, we're going to get now to the benefit boxes. So let's talk about processing the W-2, okay, and reconciling. So we now must reconcile our W-2s more often than once a year. Okay, now what they're going to be looking for when they reconcile, and you'll notice that this slide changed massive colors quickly. This is the actual 2 slides that the IRS Social Security gives out at their tax forums. And basically what they're telling us is the IRS is going to take the 941 forms and add them up. Social Security is going to process the W-2s, and then they're going to give the totals to the IRS. We've done our W-2s, okay? So now we're going to look at the W-4s and see what's new for that for this year now. All right, so now let's quickly look at what information has to be in there. Okay, now there's always the equivalent, before we get to the 941 form, there's always the equivalent of the W-4 somewhere in the country. Basically, we have 41 states that have state income tax. Now let's go on to this last form, the basics of the 941. My little heart is all aflutter. I forgive the IRS everything they've done on the Form W-4, everything that they're doing on the Form W-2, whatever, because they gave me back my 941 form. Okay, let's do it line by line now for the first 6 lines. Okay, for the top, we're going to identify ourselves. Employer ID number, trade name if you have one, name if you don't have a trade name, okay, address. Okay, all of that goes in there. Just make sure you have the right version, that you are doing the one for the current year. Let's go through these reviews. This is line 7 through 11. I'm going to do adjustments and corrections, and I'm going to take a credit. I still have 1 credit. Yes, I still have a credit in there. Okay, now the last lines. Now we have our adjustments for that one non-refundable credit, and we have the adjustments for group term life, etc. So I would subtract all of that from line 11, from line 10, and that gives me my total taxes. Okay, now Schedule B, if you have a semi-weekly depositor, you will list your liability on this. So as a semi-weekly depositor, you will fill out the ID number, the calendar year, and of course identify the quarter. So in this case, it would be 2024 and the first quarter. And then on your payday, you will list the FIT withheld, the FICA withheld, the matching FICA, and the additional Medicare tax. So the Schedule B in line 16 will list the dates of your payroll for Schedule B and the amount of taxes that were due. Line 16 will list the same things, but only by month, and they will list your total liability equaling line 12. Well, as you can see, these three forms are critical for payroll. All right, we do the W-2s now all year long, making sure we get the information in correctly. We get W-4s coming and going all year long. We need to get that information in correctly. And we have 4 941 forms to do, and we need to make sure that that information gets in correctly and that it does reconcile. Okay, so I wish you good luck on handling these three critical forms, and I'm going to turn it back over to conference panel.
Thank you, Vicky. So that does conclude the session for today. Thank you everyone for participating. You may all disconnect now. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.